We're back. We're going to be playing some 2-5 today, and I've been running really good and playing really good lately. Last week, I profited $4,400. Definitely my best week by far so far since, going pro as a poker player. And I'm definitely running good, but more importantly than that, my game has improved like tremendously. I actually feel comfortable sitting down at a table now like I'm a true profitable player. It's not just in my head because of the run good. I'm actually playing very good. I've been training my ass off and trying to get better at a very fast pace, and it seems to be paying off. So hopefully I don't eat those words today completely, but if I do, you guys will be around to watch it. But without further ado, I'm ready to hit the poker table. Let's go. I'll see you at the table.
So naturally there's a wait to get on the 2-5 table, so we sit down at the 1-3 table, and within the first rotation we're under the gun and we get dealt pocket eights. So naturally we raise it up to $10 and we get 3-bet to $30 from a player in middle position. We're both sitting around $500 in our stacks, so I go ahead and make the call. I'm definitely getting the right implied odds, and we go to a flop. And naturally, just how we've been running lately, we flop top set on 7-8-4 with 2 diamonds. I check over to him, and he bets out another $30. I sit there and posture for a little bit, acting like I have a decision to make, but we all know what's about to happen here. I'm not going to be slow playing this. I know he probably has a big overpair, or ace-king, who knows. But I'm going to raise it up to $100. And he gets a little frustrated, immediately says, all in. I shrug and say, I call, flip over my pocket eights, and he flips over pocket kings. Just need a clean run out, which we do get. So literally the very first hand we play in this session, we're all in, and we double up. We nearly stack our opponent, but he had us barely covered by a few dollars, and we are just getting started. Feels good to see piles of chips coming our direction our very first hand, but this is a wild session, so make sure you keep watching. So this next hand, we're in the small blind with ace-queen offsuit, and there's a raise to $15 from middle position, a call from the button. I should always be 3-betting this from the small blind, but for some reason or another, I just decide to call. And the flop comes 2, 3, 4, so all low cards. I go ahead and make the check in the small blind first act, and it checks all the way around. The turn pairs the board with another 3, and I don't think anyone's going to really have anything on this board. I think an overpair would have bet on the flop, so I bet $15, and both players pretty quickly make the fold. I probably had the best hand there, but just want to deny equity from anyone that's going to spike a random card and pair their hand on the river. And we take down a small pot, but building some momentum nonetheless. Moving right along, we're in the small blind once again with 10-7 of diamonds. There's a limp in early position, and it folds all the way around to me. I'm going to raise this up, but then I see the big blind actually start to reach for chips. So I just flat call. I'm going to let him go ahead and raise in here, which he does. He raises it to $15, and we go 3 ways to a flop, which is decent. It comes 9, 5, 7. No diamonds out there, but we do hit a 7. I check, and the pre-flop raiser continues for $25. Next act folds. It's back on me, and there's nothing left to do except make a flat call here. So I call 25. Want to see what happens on the turn. The turn is not exactly what we're looking for. It brings a 4 of clubs, but it's likely that this is not what our opponent was looking for either. So I take my time here and act like I want to bet, like I'm thinking of a decision. I ultimately check, and he pretty quickly checks back. The river is the king of diamonds, which is definitely not ideal. I was hoping to keep a low card out there, but I just had this feeling from my opponent that he did not like how the run out went here. And I pull out a stack of chips and start counting it with intentions to bet pretty big here. And I'm trying to gauge his response, which doesn't look like he's super excited about me getting ready to make a big bet. So I decide to slide the chips out there. I bet out $75, and he goes into the tank for a little while. I'm putting him on a 9x holding or maybe a lower pocket pair under a king, and he lets it go. So we steal a $95 pot. I don't think we had the best hand, so we went for it. We are in middle position. There's one limp before me to $5. I raise it up to $20 with 9-8 of clubs. The button makes the call, and the two other players across the table make a call, and then the limper makes a call as well. So we're going 4 ways to a flop, $80 in the middle. The flop comes pretty decent. Queen Jack 4 with Queen Jack of clubs. So obviously we have a gut shot to the straight flush draw. It checks over to the gentleman to my right, who only limped and then called pre-flop. And he decides to bet $50, which I think is kind of odd. So I'm sitting here with a straight flush draw. I mean, I could definitely be raising here, but I'm kind of skeptical. I don't know. I count out a stack of chips, and I decide that a call going forward is going to be the best bet for now, and I want to see what happens as the board carries on. It gets over to the button, who also grabs some chips and then comes along with a call as well, and the other player folds. So 3 ways to a turn card. The turn is the 8 of diamonds. So not what I was like ideally looking for, but also obviously not the worst card. We do have a pair, and both players slow down and check to me. And I think about it for a little while if I want a better check, but I ultimately decide to go ahead and check this back and try to realize my equity. The river brings the 6 of spades. The first two players once again check after thinking it over for a little bit. Look like they maybe want to take a stab at it, but they do not. And no one feels really strong on here. I think I might have the best hand. I'm only going to get called by worse in this situation. I check back and say, I have an 8. No one else wants to show their cards. So I flip over my cards, and then everybody else reveals we all had the club flush draw, and I had the lowest end of it. So thank God the flush draw didn't get there. Taking down a $230 pot with third pair. I'll take it. After that last hand, our stack has climbed to just about $1,200, a little over, and for $500, so we're definitely running good. Let's keep this thing rolling. This hand right here is maybe the craziest hand of poker I've ever played in my life. There's one limp before me. I have pocket jacks. I raise it up to $20. The player to my left makes a call. The cutoff makes a call. Both the blinds fold. And then the original limper to my right comes along with a call. So 4 ways to a flop with $80 in the middle. And wouldn't you know it, the flop comes 6, Jack, 9. So we flop top set once again. Man, we're just running good. I check over to my opponent to the left after it checks to me. And I just have this board totally crushed. I could fast play this, but I feel like this is going to be good for a lot of their range. And apparently my analysis is correct, as my opponent on my left makes a bet of $75. So almost a pot-sized bet. And I think if it folds over to me, I'm just going to probably call this and then plan on check raising on the turn, just because I'm just so strong on this board. But then the next opponent decides to flip in a casual call. So obviously one of these two guys at least has something very strong on this board, and I don't think I'm going to be interested in flat calling this anymore. It's back on me. I count out a stack of green chips and decide $225 is the sizing I want to go with. Could probably be going bigger, but I don't care. And I slide that out in the middle, and it gets really quiet around the table as everyone sees there is a big pot brewing here, and I don't know if anyone is going to be too interested in folding. So it's back over on the original bettor to my left here, and he goes into the tank for quite a while. And my heart is beating pretty fast at this point because I'm thinking, can one of these guys actually have a set? I'm thinking that they have to, because, I mean, look at this board. It's so dry and not connected. Maybe somebody was betting, or maybe somebody was calling with an open-ended straight, but I think this raise is going to get really uncomfortable for that kind of hand. So if I get a call here, I'm going to probably have to put somebody on a set. Maybe Jack 9 as a 2-pair at this point, but I don't know how likely that is. So he goes into the tank for quite a long time before coming to his decision. He ultimately decides to flat call, and then it's back over on the next opponent who originally called his raise. He doesn't look disappointed. He doesn't look annoyed. He looks determined, and he says he's all in. He has about $712 effective, and this is a big pot brewing. Like, what a dream spot to be in. I think he definitely has a set under my set, and I think the guy to my left somehow also has a set. on this board. I just don't see any other hands playing out this way. So it's back over on me. I quadruple check and make sure this is real life and that I do have pocket jacks. And everyone at the table is like really interested in this hand and saying, wow, look at this. But I'm sitting there focused. I stay poised the best that I can. And it's back on me. The opponent to my left is just about $1,000 effective or so. So I have both of them covered. And after a while of thinking, I come to my decision as well. I decide to go ahead and just flat call, leave like $300 behind for the guy to my left, make it look like not too strong of a move. You know, I just think all the money's going to get in anyways, and this just makes me look like 5% weaker, which might go to my benefit. It's over on him, and I definitely think he's not going to fold just by looking at him. And I've really put all the pieces together in my mind that everybody has to have a set on this board. It's absolutely insane. This has never happened to me. I don't know what their cards are yet, so I don't know for sure. But I just don't see any other hand playing out this way. It's back over on him, and he goes in the tank for quite a while. And ultimately, he also comes to his decision to shove all his chips into the middle. He is all in for like $200-something more than what the previous guy went all in for. And again, I have both of them covered. The dealer's trying to focus on the main pot, the side pot, all that, etc. I say, well, either way, I definitely call. It's a close spot here, but I think folding top set in this particular hand right now is a little tight. So yeah, I go ahead and decide on the call. Everyone's all in. This pot is huge. It's like $2,800 or something like that. And I have the absolute best of it. No possible better hand. And I'm just thinking if I was one of these guys, if I could have gotten away from a set. And I think at this point I probably could have. But I have top set, obviously not going anywhere. And we're all in. Everyone kind of stands up at the table and is looking around, realizing that this is a huge pot. They ask me if I want to run it once or twice. I'm a good sport, and I said, whatever you guys want to do, and they want to run it 2 times. So that's what we agreed to. I look at my cards again and show my friend over here to my right that I have the absolute best of it. And at this point, I'm just hoping my analysis is correct, that they both have sets, set of 6s and a set of 9s, because if somebody's open-ended, that could be soul-crushing depending on this run out. So the last 2 cards bring a 5 and a 10 and a 7 and a queen. I'm like, oh shit, I hope nobody's ballsy enough to be in here open-ended, because one way or another, they got there, and everyone reveals, I have a set, and I'm like, so do I. And I flip over my pocket jacks, and everyone is totally shocked at what just happened. But like I said, I had a very good idea that this is exactly what was happening the whole time. Well, towards the end there, when everyone was getting all their money in, I figured there was no other way that this could be happening. So what a hand. Set over set over set, and an almost $3,000 pot. I guess the run good just continues. Almost feel kind of bad, but I was ahead on every single step of the way, so can't feel too bad, especially playing the game of poker. But what a sick spot to be in. Let's go. And for dramatic effect, the dealer knocks all the chips over and shoves a giant pile in my direction, and this just looks absurd. How exciting, right? So I barely have enough time to shake off that last hand. The adrenaline's still pumping, but I got to refocus when I look down at pocket kings. There's a straddle on the button. I'm in the cutoff. There's one limper before me. I raise it up to $35, and only the limper and button come along. The flop is about as bad as it gets with Jack 9-7, all diamonds. I double check, make sure I don't have a diamond in my hand. It checks to me, and I think I could always check this back, but there's also a lot of worse hands I can still get value from on this board. And I put out a feeler bet of $35. 1/3 of the pot I think seems about right here on this board, 3-way. The button pretty quickly makes a call, which I don't love. And then the gentleman on my right thinks it over for a minute, and he eventually puts in the call as well. So I'm pretty much done betting on this board. My hand is a bluff catcher at this point. Not only crushes their card range, but also I have no diamonds in my hand. The board just keeps getting better when the turn is the 6 of diamonds, so any 1 diamond holdings that I was hoping to get value from just got there. So yeah, it checks to me, I check, and then the button actually decides to check back. So not really sure what to put anybody on here. And the river is the 8 of hearts. So doesn't change much in the fact that I'm not going to be betting. Everyone checks around, and one player reveals he had two pair 9-7 offsuit, and the other player actually has a queen high flush on the button who checked back on the river. So kind of interesting of him to check back, but nonetheless we lose this one. I don't have too much time to sit and pout over that last hand when I look down at two black aces. I raise a $20 from middle position, and two players come along with the call. So we go three ways to a flop, which comes queen 10-6 rainbow. This looks pretty good to me. Definitely a board I'm going to be continuing on. And being multi-way, I decided to bet out $20. I think I'd be doing this with a lot of my range. And then the next player to act is the same one that checked back the queen high flush on the river there, and he decides to go with a raise to $80. And I already think that I'm way behind. The next player to act folds his cards, and it's back on me, and call me crazy, but I actually think about folding right here. I just don't think I'm ever going to be ahead here. I don't think he's ever bluffing, but I reluctantly put in a call and we go to a turn card. The turn is the 4 of spades, so $220 in the middle. With this opponent, I'm definitely not going to be betting. I check it over to him, and he grabs a couple green chips in his stack there and slides them out into the middle, and he makes a bet of $200. And I know I'm just not good. I look at my hand one more time just because, damn, they look so good. But I know they're not good on this board, and I've been trying to be much more disciplined about making good folds. So I let him go, and he's a good sport. He later tells me that he flopped a set with pocket tens. Nice hand, buddy. This next hand ends up being our last one of the session, and we look down at another premium, pocket kings. I raise it up to $20 and then get 3-bet to my right here to $80. So I definitely think a 4-bet is in the mix, but for some reason, I just have a bad feeling about this. I almost want a flat call, but I refuse to get roasted in the comment section by flat calling a 3-bet here, especially with pocket kings, and in any situation. I mean, come on, you know, this is usually a mandatory 4-bet. So that's what I do. I grab out a healthy stack of chips here, count it out, and I decide to put in the 4-bet to $210. It's back over on him, and he shrugs and says, I'm all in. And then I immediately let out a sigh and think, shit. 5-bet shove all in. He's got like $600 something effective. And my chips are literally in the rack. This was the last hand I was going to play. And I said, I'm not folding yet. And I flip over my pocket kings and say, I've never folded pocket kings pre-flop. But in a 2-5 game versus a complete recreational player, what can you really expect someone to have with a 5-bet shove like this? I think all day long this is pocket aces, maybe pocket kings, maybe in a perfect world, ace king. But either way, a 5-bet shove is just tremendously strong from a recreational player. They're not going to be doing this with anything less than aces, kings, maybe every once in a while ace king. But I think that maybe would have folded to a 4-bet from this particular player. So I go into the blender. Can I really fold pocket kings pre-flop? I personally think the best case scenario, we are chopping this, and you don't want to be blasting off your chips into a big pot if the best case scenario is chopping. Call me crazy, call me a nit, roast me. I fold my pocket kings, and he says, do you want to see? And he also had pocket kings, so we make the wrong move. But it felt like the right move in the moment. Either way, we had a very successful day of poker. Feel free to let me know about that one in the comments section by all the experts. I'd love to hear the old analysis on that. But we're going to go to the register after a successful day and call it a session.
Wow, that was a wild session to say the least. I mean, the run good continues, the upswing continues. I'm up like 6,500 over the last week and a half or so, which is like huge for playing 2-5. So yeah, feeling good. It's funny, I was running like super well, obviously set over set over set. First time that's ever happened to me. flopped a set of 8s when a guy had a pair of kings, and he was kind of on tilt, jammed all in there. But man, what a session. And then my last 3 hands, I had kings, aces, and then kings again, and I didn't win a single one of those. I got outdrawn on the first 2, got put in a very tough spot with a 5-bet shove with pocket kings. So I don't know, I figured at best case scenario, the worst he's doing this, or with pocket kings, at these stakes with a lot of these players, you're not going to see anything less than aces there. So figured best case scenario, we were chopping. So I make, I don't know, a very arguably tight fold, maybe a wrong fold. I don't know. It all depends on what your perception of the players are around you, what your play style is. I was probably priced in, but I just didn't feel good about it. But that's going to wrap up this session. We are definitely enjoying this upswing in the run good right now. And I probably had those last couple hands coming my way after running so good all session and the one before this. So I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Hope you love this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Trying to keep this this train rolling here on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.